Alan Cox Show on 100.7 WMMS.
$35192, send me a text. You can go to AlanCoxShow.com for everything else. Cavaliers lose to the Knicks.
Yeah.
Hey, there you go.
We didn't have Kevin Love or Larry Nance. Very short-handed yesterday, so.
I guess so.
See why that would happen.
So you're saying that's the only way that the Knicks, which are in a worse spot than the Cavs so far, could beat the Cavaliers.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's the only way, because the Knicks have pulled off some weird upsets this season. They beat the Mavericks a couple weeks ago in Dallas. So, on any given night, anything can happen. But we were in not the prime situation, being down two of our bigs.
123 to 105 was the final last night. They're off tonight. And then tomorrow they will be back in Miami to play the Heat at 7:30. It means your pregame will get going around 7 o'clock tomorrow night here on WMMS, your FM home for Cleveland Cavaliers basketball. And if you want to get some gear from CLE Clothing Company, keep in mind, all through this month, you want to use the word harvest. And then we'll have a new word for you in December, but this is about the time where people really start kicking in on the holiday shopping. Yeah. Everybody thinks they're going to get the jump on it right before everybody else, except everybody has that same idea. So it's this from this point through the end of the year, it's impossible to get anywhere and there not be a mob of people because everybody basically thinks. Now, I'm talking about people that still go out to brick and mortar stores and buy things.
But even if you're ordering stuff online, because that's so popular now, that becomes a problem where things get delayed because there's such a high volume of things being ordered online.
Yeah. They'll say, estimated delivery the day after Christmas. Mm-hmm. There's probably a lot of people who have Christmases the week of Christmas. But there's a lot of wiggle room there, too. If you're
you don't got to wrap the packages, though, because they're already in a box.
Beautiful.
I got a package today.
If you opt for... Now, do you opt for the gift wrapping or no? You just say, here it is in a box.
I've done that before. Okay. For like a birthday present. I got somebody. I was just like, I'll have them wrap it. It'll look nice.
I feel better springing for the wrapping paper because I don't want to give somebody something in a box. Like my nephew's birthday was a couple days ago. He turned 3. And so I just sent a gift to my brother and said, I'm going to let you wrap this however you see fit. But, yeah, and all time, I mean, I know people want their stuff when they want it, but it really does feel like anytime, day or night now, there's various trucks leaving boxes on your doorstep.
Oh, man.
You'll get that notification that something's been dropped off, and I'm like, I just checked out there when I got home. There was nothing there. And then, like, midnight, I'll get a ping or something, and there's a box on my doorstep. I don't know how late these people are working.
This is why I like my current situation, because I'm getting so many things are being delivered to my place right now, and there's the front desk, and that's part of the benefit of living in a condo.
You've got a doorman, yeah, that's
there's
right.
There's like a doorman.
Yep.
Like there's an office there, so they'll keep my stuff in the office. I had to pick up a rug that was delivered yesterday, and they had it in the office, and then I was able to pick it up, and I think it might be too big. I mean, it fits in the room, but it looks, I don't know. I'll have to get it all settled.
You know, we lived in Ohio City for 5 years, and I got into the habit of having everything delivered here to work, and I just never got out of that habit. So most things will still come here.
Except I need a lot of bigger things delivered right now, so usually I'll have stuff delivered here too, but if it's something that isn't going to fit in my little car, I'm not going to try and make someone come and, take it home for me.
You should have them deliver huge things to the front desk here.
That would be fantastic. I got a huge TV a few years ago. It was probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
In my first divorce apartment, and I had a TV, and then I had to have Zachariah drive it home because it wouldn't fit in my car.
Yeah, TV delivered here.
Yeah.
That's the best. Love it. Boy, I was reading speaking of the Cavaliers and basketball, I was reading a fascinating article on a guy named Jeff David, who is now in prison. He started a 7-year sentence, I believe, in June. But the story is pretty wild. This is a guy who went unnoticed for many years as the chief revenue officer for the Sacramento Kings. And he stole $13 million from them over his tenure there. This guy was living pretty large. He bought a house south of L.A. He wasn't living in Sac City. But he had just been hired before the whole thing blew up in his face. He was leaving the Kings, and he had just been hired as the new CRO of the Miami Heat. And everything's going great for this guy, right? He's married, he's got a couple kids, got a nice house, whatever. He had set up some shell company where he was siphoning money off of their corporate partners.
Damn.
In like a side thing. And so the story that they lay out as part of this investigation is that this guy was moving into his brand new house, and there's movers bringing things in. In the middle of all of this confusion, he gets a call from one of the HR people at the Sacramento Kings. He's outgoing with the Kings organization, and he's going to be starting a new gig with the Miami Heat. Much bigger market, more money. And it goes down the rabbit hole from there, where they start tracking some things that this guy had in very dubious files. And what he's like, no, you can get rid of that. And
Did
they
this
were like, yeah, but where did
start?
this... Huh?
This just happened?
No, he started his prison sentence this past June.
Okay.
But now they're laying... I was reading how they were laying out the story of how the whole thing happened.
This is awesome.
He bought an $8 million house in Hermosa Beach, and they're like, how did you have the money to buy this? And he was telling them that he was part of an investor group. Mm-hmm. And then the people were like, well, who are the other investors? And it turned out they were King's sponsors. And so they basically let this guy hang himself. You know, by the time the IRS comes or by the time the FBI comes, they know all of the answers to the questions that they're going to ask you, right? And so they were like, we're just going to let this guy give us answers that we know aren't
We already
correct.
know where it's all going.
Yeah.
We know how it's all happening.
His wife didn't know, so by the time their accounts are frozen, his wife's screaming at him why they don't have any money. And over the course of his time, I mean, Sacramento, I guess.
That's a job that pays pretty well anyway.
Pays pretty well.
So he's just a greedy a-hole that wanted more than he deserved, and now he's in jail for probably, 10 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 7 years. He set up about a decade ago, he set up something that he called Sacramento Sports Partners so that he could funnel money into this and make it look like an investor group. But when they peeled the layers of the onion away, there was nothing there, really. He hadn't had, But they're like, for a decade...
The balls that people have.
I know.
And these are the people that get caught. Imagine how many people have actually gotten away with this and never were caught.
I feel like when it comes to paper trails,
I feel like there's got to be some
most people eventually get caught.
That they knew when to get out, they knew how to dissolve the companies, they knew how to cover it up.
Yeah.
There's got to be plenty of people, or they just had enough people vouching for them because they were getting a little of the take too.
But you also have to figure out, I mean, that's a situation, the one you describe is a situation where you'd also you would have to have impeccable timing, because you figure the more money you're taking in, the greedier you would get, and it would be like gambling. It's quite literally gambling.
Well, but that's what makes you a good gambler or a good businessman or any of that, is knowing when to quit, knowing when to walk away.
But you have to bank on people keeping their mouths shut, and no one can keep their mouth shut. Like, that's why the government can't even pull off any conspiracy, because people rat.
That's true.
So you can't pull off something like that when money is involved.
But this guy pulled it off for 10 years to the tune of $13 million.
And in this day and age, it's harder to get away with, I think. But there is probably a time where, especially the beginning of the internet, when people weren't as savvy, they could be siphoning off funds for different things and be like, oh, we're trying to get a foothold on the internet, and be pretty, people didn't understand it. So they could definitely get away with it then.
Anytime I think about one of these stories, I think about someone living in like a nice blue collar neighborhood, and then just have like a ridiculous house, a ridiculous car, like pretty much showing everyone that.
But those are stupid people.
But
he's
are
a
the
stupid
people.
person. He bought an $8 million house when his salary is probably around nowhere near $8 million.
Right, but the team's in Sacramento.
Yeah.
He bought the house in L.A.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, who knows? Who knows where you buy a house? See that? People go, "Oh, crime doesn't pay." White collar crime still pays. It pays really well, because even if you get caught, okay, the guy stole $13 million from the Kings. He got a 7-year prison sentence.
All you gotta do is pay it back.
But you're not going to pay it back.
You
right?
can.
So what you do is you go, "Oh, I'm bankrupt. I don't have blah blah blah." Meanwhile, if you've been able to squirrel enough of that money away offshore or whatever, you get 7 years. He'll probably be out in 2. You've got money when you get out. You're doing fine. I mean, yeah, you probably might have lost your wife. I don't know.
But a good lawyer can fight that. I mean,
I guess this guy didn't have a good lawyer.
Save some money. But I don't know how you save money is when they freeze your accounts.
I'm always
you have to stay ahead of the game. That's what I'm talking about. You can't just bank on them never finding out. You have to have a contingency plan. You have to assume that someday you're going to get caught, so you need a nest egg for when you get out of jail.
An untraceable account of somewhere where there's no extradition. But again, I'm always more fascinated by when this happens on a local level. Now, I know the Sacramento Kings are, but it's still an NBA team. It's a huge, mega global conglomeration. You read stories about somebody who was a secretary for the Parma School District who ended up embezzling $500,000 from them over 7 years. I'm like, how did you not think that was going to go?
Didn't it happen like an old folks' home?
It happens all the time, locally and otherwise. How did you not think that a school district was going to... And I get it, if you just drip. But if you do
like the Office Space plan where they were just going to round those little, like, less than like a percentage of a cent. You're getting that little bit, but then it adds up over time because there's so many transactions every day.
It rounds up to the nearest penny. We're just taking a penny here and there.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But you got to put those decimal points in the right spot.
That's right.
Or else you get busted.
Alan, I had an Amazon package stolen from my front porch. They send you a photo of it, and they put it around the edge of the steps like, here, come take this.
Well, and now there's people getting caught where they'll put down the package, they'll take a photo of it, and then the person delivering it is stealing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a couple of videos like that.
Plus, there's a lot of doorbell cameras now, too.
Yeah.
So it's harder to be a porch bandit, I think.
Well, it's one of those things where, you can see them taking your stuff, but you still might not be able to identify who that person is.
Yeah.
I just think it's ridiculous because these people have no idea what's inside that package. You steal it, and the next thing you know, you open it up, and it's baby formula.
Yeah, or you're like, I got some creatine.
Like, hey, dick, you got some creatine.
Well, that's why I think if you were really hungry and you weren't too persnickety about your food, these places where you order online and then they just put your food on the shelf, you could just walk in and grab that and walk out. Now, you don't know what you're going to get,
I'm sure
but let's say you were really hungry.
Oh, people do that all the time,
I'm sure people do.
Panera has that. I ordered from
that.
Naf again last night, and I walked in, and I grabbed my bag, but I'm like, boy, anybody could walk in and grab this bag, and nobody's going to stop
Well,
them.
I've had people grab my bag, like at my morning job.
Yeah!
When
You should talk to HR about that.
When I don't take a lunch, I'm like, hey, like if I order something from Chipotle, will someone come pick it up? And they do. They'll bring it to me. So they're not policing, not the Chipotle police.
I'll tell you what.
Police.
Chipotle police.
You do not want to get on the wrong side of the Chipotle police. I'll shoot some of that salsa in your eyes and
That's the sound of the police.
temporarily blinded.
Chipotle police would be funny.
Yeah. Hey, listen, if you want to be a spank manager, that's what I call it, people who regularly rub one out are more likely to be managers. So, again...
What?
Well, yeah.
I feel like I should have been a manager a long time ago then.
No, I rub one out more than you.
Should be the CEO. I'm not going to ask how you know that. Yeah, but this is one of those things where you go, how could they possibly have made the connection between these two criteria? But they just basically, they did a survey about how regularly people rub one out, and then what they do, and they just, conflated the two, I guess. They said that people who masturbate at least once a week, once a week, we should all be CEOs.
Yeah, right?
Are likely to excel in almost every way in the workplace.
Hey, Dave, iHeartMedia, keep your hands up.
Yeah, that's right.
I was wondering what you're doing at this company. Apparently, it's just cranking things around.
I'm sending the Chipotle police.
What if they have a significant other? What if they don't have to toss off because they have...
Just because you have a significant
Whoever
other
said
not
that, I don't understand this archaic notion. You sound like a chick.
One of my favorite things is to...
There's no corration between a
Why would you
significant
do
other
that when
and
you
how
have
often.
me?
Yes.
That's not
how
a thing?
often. No.
I'm going to do you, and then I'm going to do that.
That's right.
One of my favorite things is...
Do me and then do you.
Yeah, you bang, and then, like, if the person has to leave...
You got memories?
You think of it and do it again. And then you reenact.
I've totally done that, but like I always thought, like if I had a consistent boyfriend, like I wouldn't have to toss off. As a matter of fact, I would save up. So when I do, it's gonna be a big bang.
Right, but why save up? Like, I never understood that. Like,
I want to make a mess.
But it feels awesome, so why wouldn't you just do that as often as you possibly can?
I like a big dramatic ending.
But do you think it's like wine? You think you got to let it age?
No, you don't let it age, but like, I don't know. I like.
No, I'm with him on that.
It refills. What do you care? Blow it out.
It's like a big ego thing. I don't know. It's an ego thing. I just like.
What ego thing? I think that's. I think waiting a long time for like this big explosion.
Not a long time.
I think that's an old wives' tale.
I want to save like.
No, I mean, it builds up though.
A good 3 days, like.
Yeah, if you
a good 3 days.
I feel like you'd have to wait longer than 3 days to get this so-called voluminous explosion.
But a 3 day.
And you do realize that not even gay men, no one is impressed by that, right?
You're wrong.
Who is impressed? They're gonna go, yeah,
gay men.
Bravo, cool, great.
There's plenty of women that
awesome.
are.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, Alan.
A 3 day explosion is significantly different than like an everyday.
Exactly.
Like when you're doing it every day.
Yeah, speak for yourself, bro. 3 days. That's barely waiting anything. I'm talking like if you were waiting 3 weeks, maybe. 3 days.
3 weeks, I'll explode. Forget that.
But that's what I'm saying. If you're trying to go for this alleged fireworks,
I'm just saying that
after 3 days.
3 days of, and it's not just like 3 days just sitting there. It's just like, I want the temptation. I want you to make me want it.
And you can say whatever you want.
And it builds up.
Not one person, male or female, has ever been impressed.
But you're a liar.
By that. Who has been impressed? Who has ever said to you, and what did they say?
No, I'm saying I have been impressed.
Oh, well, you're easily impressed.
Whatever. You can't just discredit me.
Yes, I can. You're easily impressed.
Like the damn Republicans. Like,
I don't think
you are easily impressed.
I don't think he's easily impressed.
No, it's not. And it's a thing.
I think it's one of those things. I think there's certain people that like to see a lot of it.
So you saw, how were you able to determine that there was a lot of it?
Well, it was.
You have your sample sizes. Yeah, you're doing it.
It was everywhere.
When you're doing it.
But he's
by yourself.
Okay, but let's use Poundcake as a control group. Okay, he's not doing it every day. He's had intermittent boyfriends.
Yeah.
Okay, only time you're going to get a regular kind of sample size is with a regular boyfriend. Yeah. Otherwise, if you're single or whatever, safe to say you're not doing it every day. All right. So, what about that particular individual made you go, "Wow, impressed"? You thought to yourself, "I'm impressed."
Yeah. Because I mean, I'm thinking to him, I'm like, either he does this all the time or I'm super special and he just had this explosion for me. So, yeah, I wasn't.
Gee, I wonder which one he landed on out of those two assumptions.
But the thing is, if he does that all the time, then I need that on a consistent basis. If he doesn't do it all the time, then I was also impressed.
But why is that impressive?
I don't know.
Okay.
It's
well, then we're at an
nature.
impasse. Well, no, that's why I'm saying I don't think people are impressed.
I think it's someone's quirk or fetish. I have a.
Well, that's a whole different ball of wax.
Right.
Then.
Yeah. Like there's plenty of girls that are.
I'm not talking about people who that's their kink.
Yeah.
I'm talking about garden variety.
Well, perhaps we are.
John and Jane Q. Public are not going, bravo.
And then they're taking the sample size.
That looks
like,
stop doing that. I hate that.
That is more than a tablespoon. I'll tell you that.
They don't do. See, that's the difference. Like he likes to do the Spider-Man webs like he's doing. God damn it! Stop looking.
So gross. Don't. Hey man, here's a little Poundcake. Hey, I'm on Spider-Man at home.
Spider-Man.
I like that. I'm impressed.
Superman.
I mean, I definitely know some girls that they call themselves. I don't even think
You can't even say it.
Size queens?
No, they're like C.
Yeah.
S's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the C is the first part.
Yeah.
And the S stands for sluts.
Right.
So they consider themselves that, and yeah, so they're impressed by things like a big explosion.
Not only are they impressed by it, they demand it.
I think that they're lying that they can tell the difference. That's what I say. I'm going to plant my flag in that.
Okay. Well, you'll see your text messages blow up because that's not true.
That's fine. I can have people lying to me over text too.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you, it's not true.
And when they're doing cleanup crew, like they I don't know, the evidence is there.
Right. All I'm saying is there's only, even if you've waited, even if you're going full on Roman candle, there is a maximum that you will produce.
Yes,
there's only so much.
I get
and
that.
if that is considered impressive to people,
Yep.
I find that strange.
Okay.
And I find it highly unlikely.
Okay. Well, then that's strange.
Now,
but
Poundcake said that he is impressed by it.
I am.
And how do you express that to the person?
I don't really express it. I'm just.
Well, then what's the point of being impressed if you can't convey that to them?
Well,
you're keeping it. You're hiding that light under a bushel basket all of a sudden.
I smile. My eyes get really. My eyes get really big, and I don't know. I'm just.
Now anytime I see you smiling,
infatuated. Yeah.
I smile. Yeah, he's like.
I take my sample size and test it.
Alan's of the Shania Twain camp, and it don't impress me much.
That's right.
Not even Brad Pitt.
Don't impress me much. Okay, listen. Good, we got that out of the way. Let me break. I got Cavs tickets for you later on. Kyrie and the Nets are going to be in town in a week or so, so if you want to get to a game, I'll hook you up. 35192 if you want to text.
It's the Alan Cox Show on 100.7 WMMS. And everywhere you go on our free